I'm honestly shocked by how good this movie is. Welcome to Bite Size Bunny, my name's Tony, and today we are going to be talking about Primate. In Primate, we follow Lucy, who is coming home with some friends to visit her father and sister that live in a secluded area on a tropical island with their pet chimpanzee named Ben. But when Ben gets bit by a rabid mongoose, he begins to go bananas. I'm sorry, that was bad. That was rough. And is insanely violent towards everyone that is now trapped inside this house with him. When watching the trailer for this movie, I got the impression that this was going to be a goofy, over-the-top horror film that started to teeter on being a comedy at times. But instead, what you actually get here is a horror film that plays it very straightforward, it's very grounded, and it feels very intense. This movie does what any good slasher does. They take the first 30 minutes to introduce you to these characters and get you attached to them, laying a solid foundation for what's to come. And then it takes a sharp turn into watching them try to navigate this terrifying situation as they are being picked off one by one. But to make things even better, Primate feels heavily inspired by the horror mastermind John Carpenter. From its pacing to its characters and to even the music, this feels like something that would have come out in the 80s, and I mean that in the best way possible. In a lot of ways, watching this movie for the first time kind of reminded me of the same way I felt the first time I watched Christine. It's intense, and it's got some really good white-knuckling, nail-biter moments sprinkled throughout. This film is unapologetically brutal with its violence. We've all heard horror stories about people being attacked by primates and just how horrific those situations are. But this film effectively captures just how horrific those stories truly are, and it never shies away from it. The camera is always getting up close and personal, leaving you sitting there looking at the aftermath of a character that has just met their demise. And it feels terrible because you do genuinely like all of the characters here. They steer clear of the trope of giving you a character to hate that serves as the antagonist. You're kind of hoping he gets grabbed by the chimpanzee. There's some occasional tension between two of the characters in this film, but it never really goes past that. Everyone sets their shit to the side so they can focus on working together to get through this messed up situation. There's no awkward melodrama crammed into the film just to have it there. It's actually refreshing having characters that can acknowledge that there are more pressing and important matters at hand here. The cast does a really good job across the board, with the two standout characters for me being Lucy, played by Johnny Sequoia, and Hannah, played by Jessica Alexander. These also happen to be the two characters that have some friction between each other before things go off the rails, but due to the circumstances of this situation, they are forced to work together to make it through, which I thought provided a fun spin on things and managed to avoid a lot of the tropes I personally find very tiring at this point. They also happen to have the strongest performances, and I think do a really good job at elevating the material here. They come off very sincere, and it makes it really easy to get you to want to root for them. This is very much so a slasher film, and it feels like everyone working on the project was very aware of the fact that this is a straightforward approach to the genre. There's no crazy plot twist, there's no mind-blowing moments, but everything here is so well crafted, and it manages to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that are kind of synonymous with the slasher genre, that it makes for a wildly fun time that I think has the potential to achieve cult classic status at some point down the road. I had a great time with this movie, and I'm going to be giving Primate an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And what is your favorite movie featuring a primate character? I'd love to know.